Hey guys, and welcome back to the Atlas podcast. So we've been gone for a while, but it's because we're in the midst of a crazy competition season, and I'm really focused on making sure all my athletes are in check and doing well in their competition. So I kind of put the podcast on the back burner for now, but I'll do my best to come back and do it a little bit more often. So today I'm here with Sabra again. She's a little bit diseased today.
Very diseased today.
Yeah, she has a fever, and she's what kind of diseases do you have?
I
You're
don't
looking very skinny today. Look at this.
You know what? It's hilarious because Tom just told me to put on a different shirt because I was wearing an oversized one. He's like, "You look fat." He didn't say that.
No, that's horrible.
He was literally like, "Go put a different shirt." It's like,
Are
yeah,
you getting lean for your Team Atlas photo shoot or what?
I'm trying. I'm working on it.
Yeah, so good news is I've been working on this Team Atlas apparel with Victoria for the last year and a half, and it's finally going to be all shipped here. I think it's actually going to be here today or tomorrow.
I cannot wait.
Starting with like 500 or 600 pieces, and then I'm going to ship Sabra over to Montreal. We're going to do a photo shoot with Sabra and Victoria, and then we're going to launch it hopefully like end of October, early November. We'll see, maybe earlier. I'm not sure yet, but the whole infrastructure for how we're going to do that is already done. So, but man, it's a lot of work getting really good quality stuff, consistent stuff, and getting a whole apparel line out there. I do everything well, and I want it to be really nice, and I want the clothes to be something the athlete will be proud to wear. So that's what I've been working on with Victoria for a year and a half now, and finally we're very close to being done. So yeah,
All the stuff looks so good too. I'm so excited.
yeah, it's gonna be cool. So that's why Sabra's looking skinny. I don't know. She just wanted to
Yeah.
lean down a little bit.
I can't be next to Victoria. She's like this big. I'm not this big right now.
Yeah, she eats like grass and stuff. She doesn't eat anything. She doesn't eat
It's
sugar. Like what is it?
She's a
Crazy.
little rabbit.
Yeah, she just eats vegetables. So I got a bunch of questions. I don't know how many we're gonna get through today, but we're gonna start off with the first one, which is, can you talk about the new point system for the Olympia? So I'm actually really happy that this point system has come into place for a few reasons. One, because there's a lot of intricacies that you guys don't understand looking from the outside in. And the first one is, as a coach trying to peak athletes for Olympia, it's extremely difficult when you have, let's say you have between 5 to 10 Olympians at every Olympia, which is something that we do have on Team Alice, and you have to time their peak with 70 classic physique guys, 70 men's physique, and then also like 70 bikinis going on stage at the Olympia. And the issue is coaches can't go backstage at the Olympia. The Olympia and the Arnold don't allow coaches backstage, so it's really hard to communicate with the athlete on show day when you get to the venue. And a lot of times their phones don't work because they're from like Europe, or the venue is just too big and there's too many cell phones everywhere, so you can't like communicate. And man, it is really hard to peak girls at the Olympia because they go on for comparisons. Think about this: they go on for their initial comparisons, right? And then 65 girls got to do the routine, so that's gonna take like an hour, maybe like a little bit longer. And then they're gonna go back on stage again. So the athlete needs to hold their like perfect peak for like probably an hour to an hour and a half, which is very difficult because sometimes nerves happen, and they get stressed, and metabolism gets faster, then they go flatter, or they hold water, and it's just a freaking event. So the more athletes that are on stage at the Olympia, the harder it's going to be to peak our athletes at the Olympia. That's number one. Number two, no one likes seeing that many athletes at the Olympia. No one. So the fans don't
So
like sitting in the
long.
audience for freaking 70 classic Metsuzik and bikini athletes. The judges can't. How can a judge 70 physiques on the stage? It's impossible. So they're going to
Yeah.
be skipping over a few people unless you're like in the top. If people on live stream don't want to watch 70 people in the average class, there's nothing good about that many people at the Olympia. Also, like even for the promoter. So the last years they would pay for your hotel and your flight. I'm pretty sure, at least the hotel, and now they just give you a discount on the hotel. What? Because they're gonna pay for a hotel room for 400 athletes from every category.
Yeah.
It's too much. So that, and just the quality of athletes. So before it was like every time someone won a pro show, they would get to the Olympia, and sometimes it would be like a really weak pro show in, like, let's say like Eastern Asia or some European show, or even sometimes in the States, but more
Like
rarely.
small, like
And an
fluke
athlete
win.
just, yeah, an athlete gets like a fluke win in front of like some judge, and then they go to the Olympia. Like, and they should not be there because they're just going to be in the last call out anyways. So this way, it's going to help the prestige of the Olympia. Athletes that deserve to be there will be there, and it's truly going to be the best in the world will be there. And I've had some athletes, some kind of newer pros message me, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be too hard to get to Olympia." Um,
But
you
it
know,
should be.
yeah,
That's
it's
part of what makes it special.
yeah.
It should
If
be
it's a
hard.
if it's a free for all and everyone gets to the Olympia, on a participation, card or entry, then I mean it's not doesn't mean as much.
No, it takes away that like
Prestige.
importance and yeah, prestige of even being called an Olympian.
Exactly. And to be honest, if you're good enough to win one show, you're good enough to come second or third in other ones. So like you don't necessarily need to win two shows, but any girl that wins a show is going to come second and third, in other ones or before that show too. So getting into the top 25 in points should be easy if you're a good athlete. It's not going to be hard.
Yeah.
Even this past weekend, this is the first Olympia Pro qualifier for the new year, and I already have two girls that won a show. So they're just got to do one other show, and like, I'm pretty sure if you win one show and come like second in another, you're going to be very close to being in the top 25 or already in the top 25 points. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the good girls are going to get in there, and people are saying, oh, it's like a pay to play thing where if the girls that pay the most, are gonna, not really.
No,
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure.
that
Go ahead.
like when you get into this sport, whether you're an amateur or a pro, it's not a cheap sport to get into. It includes travel, doing lots of shows, doing all these things. You can't say that it's a pay to play what you're getting into when you get into this sport
Yeah.
also.
No, but they're saying like you can just do a million shows and then you'll be in the top 25 of the Olympia points. This might be true for maybe like one or two girls that like consistently place like third or fourth in shows and they want to do 5,000 shows. Then fine.
Yeah.
But the, like because first place is 10 points and second place is 4,
Hmm.
and I think third place is like 3 or whatever. So someone would have to like come second place 2.5 times to have the same amount of points as someone who won a show. So
Hmm.
if you're considering pay to play versus actually just being good is going to be a lot more beneficial to you than just trying to do five
Yeah.
million shows. So yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with it. I can't wait till next year. I want it to be less girls at the Olympia. There's too many, and not just less girls. I want it to be less men's physique and less classic too. It's way too much. The
Yeah.
Olympia week is overwhelming. Even at like the Olympia meet and greet, there's 5 zillion athletes to meet. Like, no, I remember back in the day, you meet the best in the world, and it was a prestigious event. I want the Olympia to be prestigious.
Yeah.
If you guys been to the Arnold and the Olympia, the Arnold is so much more chill and more enjoyable
Hmm.
for everyone involved because there's not 5 million athletes, just 15 per category around, and that's more
Yeah.
fun. Like you could
Yeah.
focus on your
And
athletes
so
more.
much better to watch
Yes,
too as
yes, it's not boring.
someone. Yeah.
Like the Olympia should not be boring to watch at any moment, and it gets
Yeah.
boring when you're on the 47th man physique guy doing
Yeah.
their
And you're
freaking
like,
front and back row.
okay.
Yeah, peaking girls at Olympia is very freaking hard just because of that, and I don't like that. Because you're not getting the best out of the athletes. When there was less girls, you can peak them a lot better and more accurately, just because you have more control. So
Hmm.
there's so many benefits to this, and I'm really excited. Also, like the Olympia, they went one way, right? So there was too many athletes now, so now they're like reducing the amount of comps that they're giving the athletes. Now you get a discount code on your hotel instead of paying it for you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll start increasing prize money for the bikini category and men physique and classic physique if there's less athletes too, because they're going to be saving tons of money, not
Yeah.
flying everyone in and all this stuff. So, um, yeah, I'm excited about it. So I don't think it's going to reduce the amount of athletes I have at the Olympia because all my girls are going to be able to qualify again. I'm not worried about that and even more. So
Yeah.
we bring in quality athletes. I don't have you know shitty Olympians or whatever you want to say. So
Yeah.
or fluke Olympians, and my girls that win could win multiple times. So I'm happy about that. So next question was the criteria for the bikini category in brackets conditioning, and if there's a difference between amateur and pro. What do you think?
Sorry,
I know you're diseased, but you can still
I'm
listen.
so out of it.
What's the criteria for the bikini
Criteria for
category?
conditioning?
Yeah, what's the criteria for the bikini category in brackets?
No, there's not a difference between amateur and pro. I mean, I guess when you're compared to the person beside you, it is, but it's still the same basic criteria.
Yeah, so the criteria is there's a very fine line for the bikini criteria in regard to being, perfect conditioning. Worst thing you can be for bikini criteria is too lean. That's going to hurt you the most out
Yeah,
of, and you're better off being a smidge soft than a smidge too lean, I would say. But either way, there's a very fine line that you need to stay on, um, in order to be considered perfect conditioning for bikini, and it's tough because sometimes athletes lean down in different ways. So, either their legs get leaner before their upper body, or their upper body gets leaner, or their waists get lean and their legs get lean before this. So it's like
everyone's so
a lot of it
different.
is a genetic component, in regard to where you get lean first. And, if your body's able to get lean consistently throughout evenly, then you're going to have an advantage overall. So that's not much you can control. You can control a little bit with PDs. Um, let's say you're a woman and you want to lean down your legs, but your tines are just not leaning in. If your coach knows what they're doing and they're using anti-estrogens or estrogen blockers, then you're going to be able to recalibrate your body, and your body will be able to lean down your legs a little bit better than, or a lot better than if you were just doing it naturally. So there's a few things you could do. Also, like sometimes reducing muscle in an area, especially upper body, I find will help keep that area a little bit softer. So like I see a lot of times where girls have very overdeveloped delts. Their delts will lean down and get striated a lot quicker than if their delts actually shrink in size. So I've had girls that say they come to me and their delts are huge, and then their delts are leaning down first before everything else. And then I'm like, okay, let's reduce the size of your delts. I do that, and then finally everything kind of gets into check, and their delts don't look too lean or striated for their lower body. So the difference between pro am should be, you should always strive to follow the exact criteria, regardless if you're a pro or amateur or Olympian or who's judging the show. Just go in, follow the criteria of the bikini category, and that's all you can do. Don't try to play like, oh, this judge like this judge. I've never done that. I never will. At the end of the day, you'll be correct. If the judge makes a wrong call, you're right. If the judge, makes a correct call, then good for you. That's what they should be doing. But you should not be playing that, who's
Trying
judging
to
and which
appease
show.
whichever judge
No,
happens to be there.
no, that's a terrible game to play. Do not do that. Because then, let's say they don't pick you, then you're like, well, I'm not following the criteria. You didn't pick me, but you like this, and it's the game's like, no, I don't. And then what?
Yeah.
You just screwed yourself for nothing. How close should you stay to stage weight, or is it a look?
In off season,
Yeah,
I assume.
yeah.
I would say, yeah, around 10 to 12 pounds above stage weight maximum. You don't really, there's no advantage to gaining more body fat than that in your off
Mhm.
season.
Yeah, it depends how tall you are. I would say like 10 to 15. But what I would consider like a good off-season look or stage weight or whatever is just looking good and healthy and athletic in your off-season.
Hmm.
If you become a whale in your off-season, no offense, but even if you're offended, then that's on you. I mean, whatever. But I've been a whale before too, so whatever. I can talk about this. But if you look like a pro in your contest prep in the off season, you look fat and people can't even tell that you're a pro or that you even trained, then what are you even doing? Don't, not necessarily the scale, but it's like there should not be a huge contrast between your stage look and your off season look. There should be definitely a difference, a visible difference for sure.
Hmm.
But it should not be, wow, this girl looks like an Olympian versus does this girl even train or follow a diet? Like that, there should not be that big of a contrast between the two seasons. A good rule of thumb is like 10 to 15 pounds, but it depends. Like some girls, like if you're looking at fit model, like you can be between like 3 to 5 pounds off stage weight because their conditioning is not crazy. But depends how
Yeah.
you want
Oh,
to
for
look in
sure.
the off season. But for bikini, yeah, usually 10 to 15 pounds. Some girls like to stay within 3 pounds. Some girls that they'll come up, they're kind of maxed out on muscle in bikini, and they'll come off PDs for a while in the off season. And let's say their weight will maintain around like 115. And then when they go on PDs, their weight's going to increase a little bit because they're adding more muscle mass and they're retaining more muscle mass, and there's more glycogen in the muscle too. And then their body fat's coming down, so they end up staying around the same weight in contest prep and off season, but the look is different depending on what
Yeah.
PDs you're on too. If you're going within like 20, 25, 30 pounds above your stage weight every time and you got to do a full body transformation, unless you have a crazy metabolism, and if you do have crazy metabolism, getting to that point, it means you're just eating way too much food for no
I
reason,
was, yeah.
then yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not healthy. It's not good for you mentally and physically. And anyone that tells you otherwise, is typically in a position of doing it from much better genetic availability than you. So like they'll be able to lean down a lot easier, so they gain like 25 pounds in the off season. And it's like they kind of do whatever they want, and then they just prep and they shred down. But for the majority of the time, that's a really bad idea to do. So don't do that. Just I would say You want to be healthy and look good and feel good in the off season, and then you want to just lean down and kind of do a contest prep and not have to do 2.5 hours of cardio. If you're having to do 2.5 hours of cardio in contest prep, you went off track in the off season. It's just the way it is. So, what is the best amount of time to prep for a competition? Sabra,
I'd
go
say
ahead.
I think prep itself, everyone always says the 12-week mark, but I think
Mhm.
it's always best to start more early and do things slow. So if you're talking about prep itself, like 16
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. I was gonna say it just totally depends on the girl, but yeah. Um,
in general,
no,
though,
it
that ends
does.
up being, yeah, like where usually have like blinders on. I'm no longer in off season, which you should have blind even in your off season.
I've never believed in like a okay, we're starting prep 12 weeks out or we're starting 10 weeks. That's not a
Yeah,
thing. You're
there's no
always in
like
prep.
dead.
You'll talk to most body open body bros and be like, "Yep, we're prepping 12 weeks out." Or that's the majority of body bros. They don't just kind of go with the flow. It's more
Mhm,
of, yeah, this is the point where this is starting. There's no starting point for how I like to coach athletes. I like to get them ready in advance, usually 2 to 4 weeks out. If we can cruise in, that'd be great. But there's no set time. So
mhm.
I get that question actually a lot, and I always get the same answer. I'm like, you're always in prep. So off season, you're always in prep. In prep, you're in prep, and it doesn't mean you can't have cheat meals and stuff in the off season. It just means that you're always preparing for the next competition. Whatever you're doing, even in the off season, you're preparing for the next competition. If you
Mhm,
want to talk about when you start leaning down, that's going to depend on your body fat. You know, some girls
mhm,
maintain a really like reasonable and low-ish body fat level, then we'll start leaning down around 8 weeks out. You know, some girls
mhm.
a little bit heavier, maybe we'll start at 20 weeks out. My goal is to get them ready a little bit ahead of time without having to do too many extremes.
Yeah,
So that that
because
is
if
that is the
the
goal.
same girl, if you're telling her, let's say she's a bit heavier in her off season, if you're telling her your prep starts at 12 weeks out, we're not going to start leaning you down until that point. You're going to have to triple what you were going to do as if instead of starting at 20 weeks out and doing it slowly.
Yeah. And it's going to be way too hard on the body. Maybe they'll give
Yeah,
up. It's just, it's not healthy. So,
it's not.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't believe in a set number of weeks out. If any coach is saying, yeah, we start prep 12 weeks out for every athlete, then I mean, I don't really care about the outcome that
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I don't sell it like that. So, thoughts on peptides? A very general question. I really like a few peptides that I've personally tried. I've tried a few. I really like BBC and TV 500. That's what I will equate to healing my lower back and really causing a lot of inflammation relief. I tore my bicep like 2 times, small tears, nothing crazy, and that's the first thing I'll use TB 500 and BBC together to get that healing. And I noticed a significant difference than if I just left it alone and kind of let it heal itself. There's a whole bunch of other ones like IGF-LR3 and ipamorelin and tesamorelin and just there's a zillion peptides. But I really wish that the government or the FDA or whatever would put a lot more resources into testing in human trials so that we can actually see real studies and actually introduce it to like the population as medication or just some type of treatment for a lot of things or even like benefits because there's a lot of peptides on paper where they come out and they're new and it's like a miracle drug, and some of them are, but you don't really know. Some could have bad side effects later on. Like we don't really know because there's not really any long-term trials. So I wish government would put more resources into this because a lot of things could be making us live longer. Like Epitalon, it works with your telomeres, and that's supposed to increase the longevity of your life, and that's like a huge thing. If you could add 10 years on your life, but you don't know if it's going to add 10 years on your life or it's going to give you cancer. So
Yeah.
you don't want to play those games with that. I'm not saying this specifically for Epitalon, but I'm saying like for new peptide stuff that come out, um, you don't know. But something like a peptide like semaglutide, which has been FDA approved for a long time, you guys know it as Ozempic, which is the brand name. Like that is a literal miracle drug. It is unbelievable. It's amazing. I've been on it for 2.5 years now, and I'm down like 50 pounds. Kept it off. And people are like, "Oh, why do you need to use that?" And this and that. Why do you need to drive a car? Why not just walk everywhere? Like I'm gonna do everything to make my life as efficient as possible and effective as possible, and it's something that would help me curb my appetite. I'm gonna use it, especially if I don't have any side effects, and it's been studied and used on tens of millions of people. Being overweight is worse than any side effect that could possibly happen from this. So my mom's been on it too for over a year. She's down 80 pounds. My sister's down 50. So I think it's a miracle drug, and semaglutide is a peptide. So I think peptides have their use case in a lot of things, and I wish we had more research. I feel very safe using semaglutide because it's been FDA approved for a long time for diabetes and then obesity. But Yeah, I wish I had more research on humans for a lot of the other peptides. I think we could benefit from them for sure. What do you think about that, Sabra?
I agree. I haven't tried any peptides except for I've tried semaglutide very briefly, but I found it super effective. And I know for a lot of the athletes, it's a
Game
game
changer.
changer.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're
Even
not
the
like,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
oh no, like there's so many girls who, well, not so many, but there's a lot who tend to have those intrusive food thoughts and everything towards the end of prep. And it's so much better to take something like that than to have those unhealthy binge spells and everything. And like you said, it's a tool. You might as well use it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Someone says, I'm 57, postmenopausal, hormone pellets every 3 months. Is that enough to build muscle?
Is what?
She
You
says
mumbled the
she's
first part.
she says, I'm 57, I'm postmenopausal, I take hormone pellets every 3 months. Is that enough to build muscle?
Hormone pellets?
Yeah, I
No,
guess like testosterone.
no, I don't think that it would depend on the dosage and everything, but I don't think that that would be enough to build muscle. No.
Well, it depends. Like, so
Yeah. Like what is,
yeah, I don't know how she looks like
you need
before.
more
I don't know.
specific on that.
Yeah, it's a very general question. So typically, the
Yeah.
hormone pellets and testosterone from a doctor, they're going to be kind of bringing you up to like the baseline, or maybe like just in a. They're not going to put you in an aggressive dose where you're going to be building muscle, like as if you're
Well,
taking
yeah,
PEDs. I mean, it's from a
yeah,
doctor.
it
Yeah,
wouldn't be a significant, like,
I mean, it'll definitely make a difference if you're at very low testosterone to at a moderate to higher dose, still in the
yeah,
optimum in the like healthy range. But it depends. Like if you've taken PDs before and now you're going to just hormone pellets, you're probably not going to be getting that much more muscle mass because you've already surpassed your genetic limit by taking PDs.
hmm
Um, it totally depends. There's not. I don't have enough information to be able to answer that question.
yeah.
Depends how long you've been training for. It depends, on your genetics. It depends on so many things. So it depends on your goal to build muscle and to what extent. To 1 pound of muscle, 10 pounds, you want to grow your glutes to become a bikini pro. There's so many different factors that I would need to assess before actually making like
To
a
give it.
statement and giving you a correct answer on that. So
Yeah.
what's the most efficient path from coaching lifestyle to only coaching elite competitors?
The most efficient way to make
Yeah.
the switch.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a question like this before.
I'm not sure. I have a good answer actually to this question.
Okay, will you go? Because I'm half here. I'm not
You
a
just
live
joined Team
person.
Alice and be coach under Team Alice because that's wasn't that what you were doing before? You were coaching just lifestyle, now you're
I
coaching
was just
competitor.
coaching. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this comes all into marketing. So, and this is true for any business that you want to run. So, if you're coaching lifestyle and you want to coach competitors and elite competitors, first of all, start with competitors. You can just start going from nothing to coaching elite competitors. But everyone kind of starts coaching lifestyle, I guess, if you're not super involved in the industry. Like if you start, let's say you start from nothing, you don't really know anything about bodybuilding like I did. You become maybe a personal trainer first, and you start coaching lifestyle. Then you kind of get into competition, and maybe coach a competitor, and then you get into that. But it's all in how you're going to market yourself. So you're gonna have to not necessarily pivot yet, but you're going to have to coach a competitor, coach a couple of competitors, and then you're gonna have to market that you're coaching competitors. So you need to put out there and show what service and what services you offer. So I'll give you an example. So if you're just coaching lifestyle and your whole page is lifestyle, how is someone going to go on your page and know that you're coaching competitors? And the same goes for if you're coaching competitors, how is someone going to know you're coaching lifestyle? So this goes for any business. I'll give you an example just from a completely different perspective on a different business. So let's say you're an esthetician, right? And you offer services that you're doing, waxing, laser, eyebrows, eyelashes. If your entire page is you just posting girls that are doing lashes, right? How are people going to know that you also offer laser and all this stuff too? So whatever you put out there and whatever you show is what people are going to be able to see. People are going to be more inclined to buy from you. So don't hide what you're doing. Show what you're doing and be annoying about it. So we're so lucky in this age, especially if you're an entrepreneur with social media, because we have such a good avenue to market and promote our businesses for free and ourselves for free. Before you have to go to local newspaper and post an ad, and it's a nightmare. There's so many things. I remember before the internet, my mom was like selling Avon or whatever, and I would like help her and go door to door and put freaking little pamphlets in like 200 people's mailbox, and it's like that's how you market your business back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that wouldn't even be really a thing. So you got to utilize social media. Everyone I I surround myself with or comes into my life, we always get into like some entrepreneurial talk. And even my massage therapist, she's like, how do I grow my business and stuff too? I'm like, let's go look at your Instagram page. I'm like, your last post was April 14th. You have to understand that if you're not active on social media and you're not posting what you're doing and reminding people, people are going to forget about you, number one. And number two, they're not going to know who you are. So I told her, I'm like, more important than learning the skill of massage and actually getting better. Like you're already very good, but put that aside for a second and work on your marketing aspect, on getting customers and posting shit. I don't know what to post. I'm like, oh my God. I've never once in my life as an entrepreneur been like, I don't know what to do to grow my business, or I don't know how to start, or I don't know what's next. No, you figure it out. You go online, you figure it out. Go look at different pages. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. So I know this girl that owns a swimsuit company, and I just came across her page. Okay, and I sent her a video to someone who also owns a swimsuit company. I'm like, hey, by the way, this is a really good video that this girl put out, and her entire page is this. And I just came on to her. It looks like you're falling asleep. I know you're diseased.
I'm sorry. I have a fever.
I'm gonna show you this video. In fact, I don't know if I can go with here too.
Being a catfish, allow me to demonstrate. It's not you, it's the swimsuit. See the difference? Now one more time. It's not you, it's the swimsuit. As you can see, we do things a little differently here at 93 Place Street.
How good is that?
I've made a career out of
That
being
I
a
just,
catfish.
Yeah.
and look at her entire page. The whole page is these stupid videos.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. She just does a million of them.
I've made a career out of being a catfish. Allow me to demonstrate. It's not you, it's the swimsuit. See the difference?
I love this. So good.
You,
It's smart.
the
Yeah, it's so
swimsuit.
simple.
It's really smart, and that's her whole page. And that popped up on I was just scrolling Instagram, like doom scrolling, and that came up on my thing. But if her last post was April 14th, I would have never saw it, and then I would never send someone else. And these videos had millions of views. So be creative with your marketing. There's so many tools. There's so many people in your industry that you're trying to grow into and make a business in that you can take examples from and learn from. And don't be discouraged if your first video gets 30 views, or no one starts off having zillions of views. Even these comedians, okay, that you see, like, I don't know if you guys follow comedians, but it's irrelevant. But these comedians you see performing in Madison Square Garden, New York. There's been comedians for 15, 20 years eating shit, doing open mics, going to bars. No one just pops up and is like, yeah, they're great. No, like, no one understands the backstory. So the number one thing that's going to get you there is consistency and relentlessness. If you have those two things and you're persistent, you're going to be able to make something happen. If you're lazy and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do it, I'm going to go get advice. You don't need to get advice from anyone. Be consistent, be persistent, and you're going to get to where you want to be as an entrepreneur. So yeah, you got to market what you're doing. Don't take social media for granted. It's the number one most important marketing tool out there, and it's 99% free. And a lot of stuff you can do yourself. You know, you don't have to spend $10,000 on a website. You can get a website done for probably $1,000, and it's reasonable. Like, start somewhere and build from there. You're able to do it if you really want to do it, and don't make excuses for yourself. So, yeah. So in regards to going from lifestyle to elite competitors, start with 1 or 2 competitors, like I did. Start post, and let the world know that you're coaching athletes now. And that's how you're going to build your business. So someone asked. Somewhere down the list, someone asked this, and it kind of goes into this answer, so I'm just gonna answer it at the same time. I didn't write it down, but it was like, what do you do to become the best bikini coach, or something along those lines? And it was, pick a niche and go all in on it. So I notice this a lot with these European coaches is, they're coaching bikini athletes, but also coaching bodybuilders and coaching, men's physique and coaching wellness and coaching figure. You're never going to be the best at what you do if you're going in 500 different avenues and trying to master those. It's not going to happen. You got to pick one thing, focus on it, and go crazy all in. So, for example, you can do bikini and fit model, maybe touch a little bit of wellness, or but if you're doing bikini and you're trying to be the best in bikini and you're also coaching bodybuilders and it's not going to happen. That's why, all the coaches that you see that are really, really good, they're focused on 1 or 2 categories. The athletes are so much better on my team from Europe is because the coaches are treating the bikini athletes like bodybuilders, because they're coaching bodybuilders and they're not able to narrow in and dial in on one thing, and that's super important. So there's a caveat to this outside of the bodybuilding world. Let's say you're like a Jeff Bezos and you own Amazon, right? And you employ tens of thousands of people. You don't necessarily have to go all in on one thing to be really good at everything. So I'll give you an example. His main priority is Amazon. That's his main business, but he also has Amazon Prime, where you have like the streaming service, and then there's other businesses that they're doing too within Amazon, like Blink, which is like a security camera thing. So it depends on the size of your business. Let's say you're a small business, that's our coaching teams, then yes, I would say narrow in on one thing, go all in, and don't really diverge from that. But you're allowed to hire people to focus on other sectors, right? Without taking the main focus off the main, meat and potatoes of your business. So Jeff Bezos, he has Amazon, but he also has a team for, let's say, like the Blink cameras, and then another team for Prime Video. So he has 80% of his resources and everything going into Amazon, but then the rest is going on to other things to try to build around that business, and that's perfectly fine. Same thing for Microsoft. Same thing for Apple. Apple has 5 million products, but their main thing is probably going to be the iPhone, right? And then they have a team for that, and they have a different team for this. But the center thing is going to be, this is where most of their business is being driven into, and then they could do other sectors. But if you have one person splitting all of their time equally between 5 or 6 different things, and you're not focused on one main thing, and you're a small business, it's not going to work that way. You got to go nuts. Same thing goes back to that my massage therapist. She was doing massage, and then she was offering like booty classes and doing personal training, and I'm like, what? It's a fucking disaster. I'm like, focus on one. I'm like, what's making you the most money? Massages. You're making $100 an hour. Okay, so why are you gonna do these booty classes for these 6 girls like every 2 weeks for $10? Like, it was not a good business model, and she was spreading herself thin across everything, and then you're just diluting you as a person. You're diluting your time. You're diluting your energy, and you're not able to focus on the one main thing that you love the most. And that's super important. And it's okay to have hobbies and do things on the side, but if you're trying to grow and you still haven't built a really good foundation for one business, focus on that, put all your resources into it, and become the best at that. Stop trying to do 20 different things at the same. People hear you need to diversify to be rich. That's not true. That's complete opposite of the truth. You can become rich by focusing on one thing and being excellent at that and being better than everyone else. And then once you have enough resources, then you can start diversifying a little bit, like I was talking about with the other big companies. Same for Meta, right? They focus on Facebook and Instagram. Those are their 2 main platforms, and they have another team for Meta glasses. And it's how it all
Yeah.
they get all their money from their ads. It's like their biggest revenue, and then they have other little things all kind of related, but they're going in different directions. But their main focus are the meat potatoes. So the smaller you are, the more focus you got to have on one specific thing. And then when you start getting hundreds and thousands of employees, then you can start diversifying a little bit and trying to excel in other things, but still make sure your focus is the main focus, or you're going to lose the plot and you're not going to be good at anything. And that's not good. You don't want to be average at everything. It's better to be really damn good and known for one thing than being reasonably okay at everything, and then not really good. So that's my opinion. What do you think about that, Sabra?
Yeah, I agree. You need to pick a niche and stick to it. And
Talk a little bit
if
louder. I know you're
what
diseased, but
barely breathe. I'm hanging in here. I think I agree. It's good to pick a niche and go all in on that one thing. I think too, like you mentioned, it's what's going to make the most money for your time as well. And if you're doing all these random little things where you could be taking that time instead, pouring that into your advertising, pouring that into the one thing that you love the most and that makes you the most, that in the end, long term, is going to benefit you a lot more than doing all these little things and hoping that they add up and, like you said, spreading yourself
they
too thin.
won't. Is the fit model category progressing the way you expected it to?
I think better, honestly. I mean, I knew that like when it was first introduced, we all said that like, damn, this is a good, like, I'm glad that they added this, but
Mm.
I think it's gonna be much bigger than even I anticipated.
I really like the category. I think it's good for everyone involved. I've talked about this before, but people that don't like the category they don't understand what's going on for the whole industry. And as a competitor,
Mhm.
you should want the industry to grow, and it's going to get new people into the sport too. So right now, bikini girls are pretty jacked, and if you go to a random girl in the gym, it's really hard to sell. Hey, do you want to look like a bikini athlete? A lot of them will say no because they're very muscular compared to the average person now. But a fit
Mhm.
model girl who looks like they're right to a beach photo shoot is a lot easier of a sell to the average gym goer in regards to kind of joining the league and competing, and that's a much more attainable look. And people say because it's more attainable that it's easy or it's this and that. It's not necessarily that it's easy, but it's going to bring more people in. I'll give you an example. Let's say there was no bikini and it was just figure, right? It was figure, women's physique, and bodybuilding, which is what it was before. I think it was just bodybuilding, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, to become a bikini athlete, it's too easy. You just, you don't have to get shredded and diet. You don't need striated glutes, so you shouldn't be competing. It's like, what are you talking about? People don't want to look like that. So you make a category that will allow girls to come in and look like they want to, and that's important. If you're just going on stage to compete and then you're doing that for a short period of time and the rest of the year you don't like how you look, then what's the point of competing? So this gives another avenue for people to come to the sport. I think it's good for everyone. Sorry, what you were gonna say
I
something?
think it's really good too for even like there's bikini athletes who either like want to stay natural or even like if they only want to do a little bit of PEDs and they're constantly hearing every single time they compete, you need to grow, you need to grow, you need to grow, you need to grow. Now, instead of the only option for them either being, okay, like I know my genetic limitations, I'm not going to turn pro or whatever, so I guess I might as well stop competing. Well, that keeps those people competing too.
Yeah, no, you're
It gives
totally
them
right.
another option, like instead of just being like, oh, okay, well, that's it. I guess I'm just
Take
not
more
meant to be
drugs or
an
don't
athlete.
compete. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know the bikini's getting very dense now. Your glutes got to be dense. Everything's got to be dense. And some girls, especially tall girls, like with the very long limbs, like they just cannot build that amount of muscle. It doesn't matter if they take every drug under the sun, or how long they train or been training for, or how intense they train. Just sometimes the genetics won't get them there, but they still want to compete. They love the sport and they want to be involved. So now this gives them another avenue to be able to still be competitive. You can still train just as hard as a fit model, by the way. So there's a misconception that you don't need to train as hard. It's not true. You can literally train like an animal, just like you do bikini, but you take less PDs or no PDs depending on your genetics. So, we have a girl, Brianna. She just switched from bikini to fit model. She trains like an animal. She's still training
Hmm.
like an animal in fit model. She's just taking less PDs, and now this category is a lot better for her.
Yeah.
Same goes for Gabriella. She's an extremely hard worker, trains like a you guys bikini Olympians can't even keep up with this girl. She just turned pro and fit model in April. They wouldn't even be able to keep up with her in workout, and she's fit model. So it just depends
Hmm.
on it. Just I think overall it's a positive for the sport, and yeah, we have the most bikini fit, or we have the most fit model pros right now. I think we've made 8, and that's the most in the world for one single coach. And we should be able to have the most in the world every year, I think, consistently with bikini as well.
Hmm.
I love coaching amateurs. I like keeping those. It's something I get to keep track of, and it's something I enjoy doing because it's. I like being consistent and showing results over and over again. And my favorite way to do that is by making new pros. So
Hmm.
I think it's the most fulfilling as a coach, and I want to keep that track record going for as long as I'm coaching for. I think it's going to be very possible and easy to do for the way we're set up now. And in regards to how it's the category and how it's evolving, I think it's evolving exactly how I expected it to. I'm still not a fan of the bikinis. I hope they change that. But I was talking to Tyler, and I mentioned how a lot of girls at the USA's had very small bikinis, like all the winners, and it was not 50% cut. And I was like, well, is this the new criteria? Is the bikini bottom changing? And he's like, no, but they're going to be a lot more on top of it when it's pros. So when it's amateurs, when there's 400 girls, doing a show, and you got to look at all their bikinis, and sometimes it's riding up their bum, and it's too complicated, and it's going to dilute the actual winners. Let's say someone looks really really good, but their bottom cut's like a 30%, and someone looks
Yeah,
really
you
bad, but their
can't.
bottom cut's 50%. You're going to give it to the person who's worse at 50%. It's like it's such a hard play. Who said
Hmm.
they're going to be a lot more strenuous with the bikini cut at the pro level.
Hmm.
Another thing though with that too is I think they never told me this, but from my opinion, I think they're eventually gonna have to reduce the cut to like 25% or so, because a lot of these girls are gonna look really similar and really good from the front, but what's going to separate them is how round and how dense their glutes are from the back.
Hmm.
And you guys know that if the suit cuts at 50%, you can't even see the upper glutes. So that completely takes that away from the physique. And how are you going to differentiate when there's 25 beautiful girls on the stage with all the very small waists and great front pose and their back pose? The main differentiating factor is going to be the glutes, but you can't even see half of it. So I think they're
Hmm.
going to have no choice but to reduce the suit size eventually to be able to determine who actually is the best, and
Hmm.
actually see who's the best. And, they didn't tell me that, but that's what I think is going to happen just based off logic and seeing the category evolve. Like, I had a girl turn pro and she has no upper glutes, but you couldn't see that because she's wearing a 50% cut on her bikini. She has great lower glutes, but you can't see the upper glutes. The line for where fit model is a lot blurrier in regards to condition as bikini. Like bikini, you can be too soft, too hard. You can have a girl that's a little bit too soft in fit model, but looks overall better. So they're gonna have to really pinpoint what's going to be a differentiating factor when there's 20 girls that are all perfect conditioning. That's going to be the challenge. It's easier at amateur level now because the quality is not as good. But all my fit model girls, if I put them all together, lined them up, my pros, they all look fucking good. So I don't know what they're going to do. So I think that's what's going to happen in that category, but we'll see. I really like how it's evolving. Obviously, I understand the category, I would say better than anyone because we've made the most pros. So it means that we're able to bring the most consistent results and kind of follow the look that they're going for, especially since all my pros have been created in front of Tyler, Mannion, and Sandy. So we have 8 pros and all of them have become pros in front of top Olympia judges. So obviously we're following the criteria that they set out for us right now. And I'm really excited for the first Fit Model Pro show. I'm going to put like all my Fit Model. I want to have the whole Olympia lineup of Fit Models. I think we're going to have the majority.
I remember the day that we heard this news that this was the new category that was coming out. I remember in our team group chat, we were like, let's be the first people to figure this out. Let's nail it. Like, let's be the first one with all, like, by the end of the year, we want all fit models.
No, it's true. That's what we're doing. So, So we had a team discussion at the start of the year and we're like, let's dominate this category. And I went to work right away and talked to the judges after every show and see what's going on. And then like every week or two, I send you guys in our coaches chat, like, hey, I want to change this for the front pose, or I want to like send the girls this. And we're always like evolving. And I want to have an advantage always, all the time. That's how you stay ahead of the game. That's how you become the best, is you keep evolving. So like I'll learn something about the female category and I'll tell you guys, and we start applying it to our athletes and be like, oh shit, this actually looks much better. So that's what we did that last week. And we had a kind of like a opposing revelation that is going to keep giving us an advantage over everyone. That's the whole point, right? Like in every category, you want to have an advantage over everyone just based off the skill and being able to understand the category more and in depth. And that's going to allow you to make more pros and be better than everyone in what you're doing. So yeah, I'm excited about the category. I love it. I think it's a great addition and I can't wait for the pro shows next year.
I really like it too. I really like coaching fit model too.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I like how the girls can be healthy and do it and they don't have to get shredded, and there's no like really rebounding. A lot of them are on a lot of calories, not all of them, but a lot of them, and more sustainable. And I like the fact they don't really have to use PDs. I really like that because it's going to bring more people into the sport. Yeah, so I only have one concern though with the category in the pro show. So as I'm hiring a new coach because I have one that's going to die soon. I'm gonna edit that out in case you actually do it. Then it'll be like James killed Sabra or something.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
No, I just thought I don't want to put that.
Podcast.
I don't want to. Oh yeah, look at this. So I had an athlete. Okay, I have crystals now. Look at this.
Do your witchcraft.
Okay, I'll do some witchcraft. Give me 1 second.
What if you do the wrong spell?
So I'm gonna tell you guys a little side story. Our podcast it's not one of those podcasts. It's just, our podcast is kind of just whatever happens. So
it's zero structure.
Oh, it's not even my camera.
Yeah.
So I was at the Vancouver Pro Show and I had an athlete, a model athlete, and she was there and she was telling me how she's going to win the show and has no doubt in her mind whatsoever we're going to go win that show. And I was like, all right, like there's another girl who's really good there too, so we're going to do our best to win. And I'm always a realist. I don't like to put stuff in an athlete's head if I don't think it's 100% probability that's going to happen. So she's like, oh no, don't doubt me. I'm like, I'm not doubting you. I'm just telling you, like, listen, like, I don't want you to be disappointed if we don't win after. So she's like, oh no, I'm 100% going to win. So I'm like, all right. So we do the show and she's in prejudging and it's between her and another girl. And she's like, what do you think? I'm like, I have you winning from the back a little bit, but she like wins from the front. So I think it's going to be pretty close. And the other girl looked really good as well. And my girl was like, oh, I'm guaranteed winning this show. And I was like, all right. And the whole time, like during the 2-3 days leading up to the show, she's like, I have my crystals with me. I'll show you. So I have my crystals with me. I'm going to wear one in my bra on the stage. I'm going to put one in my asshole. No, it's not what she said, but that's what I made a joke because I was like, you have them all over your fucking body. And then after she fucking won the overall and she won the show, and she was just like, yeah, this was just the outcome that was going to happen, regardless of what you thought or what anyone thought because of my crystals. And I was like, Jesus. I was like, I've never seen someone so confident, and the result, like, I thought the other girl was probably going to win because of how good I thought she looked. And I told her that too. I'm like, I thought she was gonna win, but you won, and I'm super happy about that. And but she was like, so she was just like, no, like her winning was not even a possibility in this whole world that we're both living in right now. I was like, why are you so calm? She's like, because I have my crystals, and I'm like, you know what, like, give me some fucking crystals because I want to win this Olympia, and any advantage I can get, I want to, I'll put a crystal on my ass when I'm going to the Olympia, and hope for the best. So she got me these crystals. She told me I have to like put them in sunlight or some shit. I don't know. I'm not doing that. I'm leaving them next to my desk because I'm seeing them every day. Yeah, I gotta charge. I'm not charging these. They're just they're sitting hanging on like that. And she got me this piece of wood.
Yo, you gotta charge them. Put them in the window.
Okay, I'll charge them today. I'm gonna put them over there. Anyways, so I did some voodoo. I did some black magic. So she got me this piece of wood here.
Did she teach you how to do it right?
It's like a
Did
sage
when
wood
you
or whatever.
did
No,
she
not
say?
really. She told me some stuff, and I'm kind of just doing my own
I think
ritual
you
here.
sent us
So
a video that you sent her, and she said you were terrible or something. That was fine.
no. So I can't. The camera's over there, but I don't know. You do this shit. There's some fire happening like down my house.
Make me bet.
And then this is to win the Olympia. This is not for you. Yeah, we'll do yours. You do this. Yeah. So if I win the Olympia, this is because this is happening here. So yeah, it's that. So now I'm gonna put them next to my window to charge them or something. There, that's that. And yeah, so yeah, I did a whole little ritual thing, did some black magic, and hope for the best. So it worked for her. So we'll see how everything's been going really good since I got these crystals. I'm not gonna lie. I've been told. I'm like, listen,
Every Olympian put a crystal in their bra.
I've had
What
these
if it like
crystals, and ever
floods?
since I had them, it was right after it was right before North Americans. We made 6 pros, and I just went 2 back-to-back pro shows with 4 open pro wins in 2 weeks, which is insane. So everything's been going really good, and now they're charging. So I wish I could show you my camera, but it's like on a tripod and things. So yeah, so I've been doing some voodoo with that. So that's that story. So let's get back into the question. So yeah, I am gonna do some voodoo for you later. Hopefully you're not sick anymore.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I never believe. I'm not saying I believe in this, but listen, it's not doing anything bad to have these crystals here for me, and it's not like an inconvenience. So if there is some type of voodoo black magic energy or whatever that's happening, that's making me, may as well put it there, sitting next to my desk, right? So I'm not gonna. So that's what we're doing right now.
Crystals do.
You don't have any? You look like a person that would have a lot of crystals. You don't have any?
No, actually, Audrey has a collection of them, though. She has like a bunch of purple ones.
It actually smells pretty
But
good. This
they're,
one.
does it? I'm gonna go find a crystal store.
No. You need specific ones. You could ask Carla about them. One's for abundance. One's for fucking. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but everything's going really good now, so I'm not gonna fuck it up. I'm right now. I'm gonna show you. They're
And
charging
don't
right
talk
now.
shit about them or anything. Don't like mess up their
I
names,
can't
because
even do
what
it.
if they curse you?
No, they're not gonna curse me. We're all on the same team. Yeah. All right. So, training for Masters Fit model. Morning pre-workout meals. 5 a.m. workout is the best time for me. You need to determine how you feel when you eat or don't eat certain things and what impacts your training the most. So when I was bodybuilding, I would not like to eat like an hour to an hour and a half before I was training because my stomach would just feel full and I would feel terrible. Some people like to eat a huge meal before they train to have like sustainable energy throughout their workout. So some people like to train fasted. So just determine how you feel the best in the gym and what meals or how much time you need before your training in regards to eating to be able to train the best you can, get the best pump and everything, and then go from that. So there's not a specific meal you should be having before the gym or during training or after. Just make sure that you know what you feel the best and how you can perform the best in the gym. And if you eat too much, you feel like shit, then don't eat that much. If you certain foods, sit in your stomach for long, then don't eat those. So
See what
yeah,
works for you.
exactly. Let's see. Fat loading versus carb loading in peak week. Sabra, go ahead.
Fat loading versus carb loading.
Yeah,
Well,
a good answer to this.
Yeah, I do. Especially if you are prone to bloating, more carbs is just going to make your stomach blow out. Not a good idea. Unless you are someone, especially that's more for people who are taller, leaner, high metabolism, people who don't bloat. It completely varies from athlete to athlete. A lot of people seem to peak better, in my opinion, with fats because it minimizes bloating, but sometimes you have to do more. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah, so it totally depends on the situation, like Sabra said. So fats will typically slow down your metabolism. I don't know if that's like a factual statement, but I would say it's true in bodybuilding to a certain extent. Not just if you're eating fast, your metabolism is going to be slower. That's not what I mean. I just mean like your digestion is going to be a little bit slower. It's going to move things a little bit slower in your system, and you're also going to need a lower quantity of fats in order to kind of keep like a floor look because they're more calorie dense than carbs. So it's going to totally depend on the athlete. So fats and like let's say a little bit of carb, let's say a rice cake and peanut butter and natural peanut butter will sustain the athlete for longer than let's say 50 grams of rice. So rice is going to burn through you very quickly because of glycogen and just the use of the energy source, versus the fats will be able to stay in your body and sustain you a lot quicker. Also, what I just said was the volume of fats to get the same calories is going to be a lot lower. So if an athlete's already on a ton of calories and you're just throwing carbs to them, what it's going to do is it's going to bloat the shit out of them because they're going to need such a high volume of food intake to be able to get the same amount of calories in. And it's also going to make their body work like a furnace, and it's going to make them burn through everything really quickly. So there's a certain point where having too much food is bad and having too little food is not ideal either. So you want to be in the middle. The hardest athletes to peak are the ones eating the most because their body changes the quickest, right? Not eating as much, or you're gonna be able to peak them a lot better because you're a lot more predictable. You know that like the ones that are eating like barely nothing always look better fasted, always, because the second they drink a little bit of water or have a little bit of food, they're gonna hold water and look not as good. So some athletes that look better, midday or before bed because they need a lot of food and a lot of water, and it's gonna be much harder to peak, obviously, because they're gonna need more maintenance in regards to their diet and their, looking at them and all of that stuff. So you want to have a happy medium. You want an athlete like eating a reasonable amount, but if they're starting to eat 4,000 calories, you're gonna have issues because they're gonna be flattening out really quickly. And then you have to balance their waist not being bloated too. So there's no bikini athlete on earth that can eat 4,000 calories and not have like a bloated waist. You know what I'm saying? I think by the end of the day with all that water. So peaking an athlete like that is very difficult because their body can change very quickly and they can get too lean very quickly and they get too flat very quickly. And then if you fall behind, then you got to feed them more and then their waist gets bloated and then it's just like a shitty look. So the less the athlete has to eat, the easier they are to peak. But I would say like a happy medium, let's say like if between like 15 to like 1,800 calories, like a really good sweet spot for an athlete to be in. I would say like in prep if it's possible to peak them, I think, because you're getting enough food where it's like it's easy to keep them full and their conditioning is like be perfect and it's not too
Looking
much where it's
good.
like, yeah, that's like so once again, fat loading versus carb loading and peak week totally depends on the athlete and takes a lot of practice and a lot of understanding that every athlete is different. So there's no set protocol I have for athletes, and it's actually very rare that I actually go back and look what I did in previous shows because it doesn't really mean anything.
It
I'll give you an
changes
example.
every.
I'll give you an example. Alice, right? Alice Marchizio, I just had in 2 pro shows in a row. I could show you our text message, but basically I told her like one day out from Dominican, I was like, listen, this peak is very different, but you're gonna look even better than last week. And that's just what your body needs right now. So she was eating about like I would say 800 grams of rice and let's say like 100 grams of peanut butter. She was eating about, let's say, 23 to 2,500 calories going into Janet's show. Okay. And she would wake up every day at 62 kilograms. And that would be like kind of her best look. And she looked good at that show, but her waist was a little bit bloated because of the food that she had to like eat. And for the next show, her body after the show, she kind of woke up at a very kind of she kind of we had like hamburgers and stuff, so then her body kind of like recalibrated itself and she kind of woke up at a heavier weight. And so I dropped her food because we only had 7 days to get ready for the next show, and I dropped her food and she kind of woke up at the same weight again, higher than 62 kilograms. And I was like, let's keep the food low. And then the food, anyways, her body just wasn't requiring that much food to get to the ideal look that I wanted to. So by the end, she literally was just eating like 50 grams of rice and protein going to the show, but she was tight, hard, full. And if you go look at her shape from Janet's show, to a week later at the Dominican show, she was eating, I would say, 1/3 the amount of total food, maybe even less. Probably, no, definitely less. I would say probably 1/6 the amount of total food in regards to carbs and fats. And she looked harder and fuller than when she was eating 6 times more. And that's just a week apart. But it could have, so if I just followed the same plan I did the week before, her body would have looked like shit. She would have been watery, should have been softer, it would not have worked. So
Yeah.
I kept her making her check in every single day, and I adjusted based on what I saw and how her body was reacting. And she's like, "Why is this peak so different a week apart?" I said, "You're going to win this show as well. Just trust me." And she's like, "Yeah, I trust you. Let's just do it." And it could have been reversed. I could have been feeding her barely nothing going into the Janet show, and then the next show I could have to feed her a lot. So I don't. What we did in the past doesn't mean anything for the future. I'm going to be honest, unless it's like a reaction to PDs, like I'd say like they get an adverse reaction to PDs, or like there's certain food that they don't feel good on. Let's say like someone really can't digest rice, and I'm not going to give them rice in the future unless they for some reason they can. So that's the only real that's the only things that you should really consider from past prep. So don't try to like mimic peak weeks from before. That just doesn't work. You need to check every single day, and you need to all my Olympians are checking every day now. So and we're 3 weeks out. So you got to check every single day, and you got to make sure that you're adjusting based on what the athlete needs, not what you did in the past. It doesn't work, and that's very lazy coaching. That's not something I would ever advise you to be doing, or even like a full like diet and water. I know there's like some coaches that give like a full like water, sodium, and food, and tell you everything to do starting 1 week out from the show of going down to how much food you're going to eat every single day exactly, and don't check you throughout the week. It makes no sense. How do you know what the athlete's going to need? You need to check every single day, especially in peak week. We'll answer a few more questions. Natural IFBB Bikini Pro, whose shape do you find impressive? I don't think there's any really good natural bikini pros right now that are consistently winning pro shows. There's actually none. I would say Lana Dunbar is probably the best, but I just saw her at Janet's show, and her shape is amazing, but she was not nearly in correct bikini condition for the criteria of the bikini category. So I think she wasn't even in the top 10. So, and she's like probably the top natural bikini pro. So it's not, to be a natural bikini pro now and be really good is not a thing right now. You can maybe become a pro. Depends on the density is too crazy, and the condition you need to get in the legs is too much for it to be natural.
Yeah, for a female, it's just
that's why fit model is great, because it's like then you don't need to take it, and you don't need to take stuff, and you can still excel in the sport. So without taking excessive PDs. But yeah, right now the way bikini is, and the density you need, and you can maybe turn pro if you have really good genetics naturally, but if you want to be like a top Olympian naturally, it's not happening right now.
Yeah.
View on Maureen's physique at the Pittsburgh Pro. I definitely was not her best. I think she kind of, she took a while off from competing because of the injury, and she kind of came back, and maybe she didn't take it as seriously, but obviously that wasn't her best shape. We'll see at the Olympia if she is able to kind of bring back that fullness and density and that really nice look that she usually brings. And if not, then I think she will be surpassed by other upcoming athletes. But if she comes in like she did when she won the Olympia, then she'll be up there top 2 or winning or top 3 again. If she doesn't, she might be 6, 7, 8, 9. You don't know. A few more questions. Will Sabra come back to the stage? Next question.
No, she will not.
Do you play favorites with your athletes? Do you favor who have been with you longer or big names? No, I don't play favorite with my athletes. Actually, I have a thing where it's like I can't, and this goes for everyone on my employees too on my team. Like I can't not care about an athlete even if they don't care, which I can't turn it off because it's still like a reflection of the team out. Give you an example of like there's a couple, but we don't have many, but there's like some athletes where you have to remind them to check in every single day, and they don't send their posing, they don't read. Like there's some athletes where I think, well, maybe just like 1 or 2 right now, but where they'll send their check-in, and then we'll reply and send all the posing feedback and what they need to do for next check-in and their diet and everything, and then they won't read the next check-in. They won't read a response until the next check-in. So they won't apply anything that we told them, and they'll do that every time. And so they don't really progress because they're not taking our feedback, and that's someone that doesn't really care. But even though they don't care, we still, they paid us and they're part of Team Atlas, so we still put our 100% effort into them regardless of if they care or not. It really sucks to care more than an athlete, because I'll never understand that mindset where it's like you care more about the athlete's success than himself. I'll never understand that, but that's just, we're not going to neglect an athlete or not care regardless of if they, put in the effort required or not. But I will have a talk to them I will have a talk with them and be like, listen, like you got to start putting a little bit more effort because or there's no point of really doing this because you're not going to get the result that you're looking for if you're not putting in any of the work, you know? So yeah, I don't play favorites. The only time I would say playing favorites would be I'm not, I don't want any more athletes competing at the amateur Olympia, for Olympia and Peak Week anymore because I did it last year. My girl won her pro card, but I need to prioritize my bikini Olympians at the Bikini Olympia. I can't have amateur bikini athletes because it takes an entire day there. You're running around like the Olympia week is already so strenuous and so stressful and intense because you know it's the biggest competition in the world and you got to focus on the top athletes. So I'm not gonna have amateurs doing the amateur Olympia anymore. And if they do, I'm gonna do it like through an online. I'll still see them in person. I'm not gonna go see the show in person because it takes too much out of me for that week, and I'm very limited on my time and what I'm able to do. So that's the only time I'll say those are favorites is an Olympia peak week. But all my
I
athletes that I've
also
told that
think
to,
that,
yeah, that's
yeah,
reasonable.
every athlete, anyone who's in that sport would understand that
And all the athletes that
reasoning.
want to do the Olympia amateur also understood. Like, I got six
Yeah.
Olympians in there. I got to focus on my top Olympians doing the show, but I'll still be doing check-ins. There's only a couple more questions. Do you recommend chest exercises for bikini athletes? No, I don't think it's necessary, especially if you have implants. I don't think you need to. There's not really a benefit to training chest as a bikini athlete. You're not being judged on your chest or chest muscles. It's not going to help you be more balanced. It's not really doing much for you. Will you ever consider, would you ever consider coaching an amateur bikini athlete for free? I think I only coach like one or two athletes on my team for free, and it's because they've been grandfathered in. They've been with me for forever and ever, um, and I kind of had to deal with them at the start. But that's it. Like even my Olympians are paying my coaching. I work too hard to coach anyone for free, and there's no amateur that I would consider coaching for free. There's no benefit to me to doing that, and I put too much effort in and too much everything of me, of my soul into coaching that I don't think that it's fair for me to offer, you know, what I do or what we do as a team for free to anyone. It's not fair. They can have great genetics. They can be this. It doesn't matter. Like we put so much into it that we deserve to be compensated for it. That's how I feel about that. When you're starting, when you're starting building your business, you might coach a couple athletes with great genetics for free, kind of get your name out there. But when I've been coaching and you're established like me, and you put in more than any possible coach could, and you have the best results of any coach, then I don't need to be coaching anyone for free, and I won't. How much cardio is too high? Trying to make good progress, and where's my cardio is too high? It depends. Like too high for prep. If you can have great glutes, but if you're not in condition, you're not going to place well. So it doesn't really matter. You need to, if you're doing 2 hours of cardio a day in prep, and you're worried about losing your glutes, then you need to be leaner in the off season and have a better sustainability plan in regards to your body fat level in the off season. So if you're natural and you're doing 2 hours of cardio and you're still not lean enough, then you're in the wrong category. You need to maybe consider PDs or reconsider your goals because if you have to do 2 hours of cardio and your glutes are small and you're not conditioned yet and you're trying to do bikini, it's like, and you're natural, then yes, you're going to be losing muscle mass doing that much cardio naturally. So if you're taking PDs and you're doing that much cardio, you're not going to really be losing that much muscle mass. You might actually be gaining muscle mass even while in a calorie deficit. And last question, James, would you coach? Could would you could you James, would you coach a natural fuck, did you
Would you
give me a
coach an
disease? What's is this question is worded mentally? It's word James, could a natural athlete? I assume James, could you coach what fucking hell dude?
athlete?
James,
Would Chuck Chuck?
yeah, I'm gonna would you this is how it's would you could a natural athlete would you coach a natural athlete? The answer is yes. I do coach natural athletes, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Like let's say I want to become a bikini Olympian, I want to be natural and this and that. Like I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass. I'm not gonna tell you something you want to hear just because you want to hear it, even if it's not the truth. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, I'll coach anyone naturally. No, we have a bunch of natural athletes on our team right now. Some of them pro. Totally depends on genetics. But yes, I would love to coach. I would love to, and I do, and I coulda, woulda, could natural athlete. Yes.
Chuck Chuck,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah, I have no problem. If you want to be natural and be on my team, we have a bunch, but just depends on your goals and what you're realistic and what you're trying to achieve out of the sport. And I'll always be honest with you with that. So, Sabri, do you have anything else to add in my monologue here?
Not really to that. We have a couple really good natural athletes right now, though, for bikini.
Yeah. Yeah, you're saying for model or bikini at the amateur level. Yeah, we have a couple really. I don't know if they're going to be Olympians, but they could definitely turn pro. But
No, but
they're doing natural
they
shows,
look
and
really good, though.
yeah, I'm impressed. So, all right. So, Sabra, anything else? You good?
No, I need to go die on my couch now.
No, don't die, please. So, anyways, thanks for joining me. I know you're diseased, but you really you came up to the plate and you still you put in the effort here for the podcast, and I appreciate you.
I did my best.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Guys, thank you. I'm probably going to do another podcast after Olympia. We'll see how I feel and we'll see what's going on. But I'm going to start picking up a little bit near the winter time once the season slows down a little bit more. And I put in my notes that like next year, I'm going to try to do one at least every 2 weeks, even in the crazy season, and try to really fit it in because I know you guys get value from it. And I keep getting asked from it every week, when are you going to do a podcast? And I'm like, when I have time. So I'll try to prioritize it more next year, even when the season gets busy, and really put it in my schedule, my calendar, so that we get them out at least twice a month. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys in the next year. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, message me or leave them in the comments on the video. And I'll see you guys soon.